Dun, 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 dun. So, hi, everybody. If you watched Disney Plus night of Dancing with the Stars, we are here to talk about it. Marshall, our resident Dancing with the Stars expert, is here to give his take. Disney Plus night, well, it's usually Disney night. The evolution, as we were told at the expo, is to celebrate the fact Dancing with the Stars is now on Disney Plus. So it included things from Marvel, Simpsons, 20th Century Studios, no Star Wars, actually. No Nat Geo. No.
No. Can you imagine Nat Geo? It's just like the roars of a cheetah and then trying to do like a Paso Doble set to that. Could be flawed.
I'm not against it. You know, there's a whole symphony. It's like Symphony of the Earth or something where like
they tour, right?
Yeah, and you can go see. They have like video of like from the National Geographic Library, but they play music that's kind of synced up to it. So you know, I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch.
But you know,
it's hard for them to be like, oh yeah, I grew up loving Nat Geo documentaries.
Oh right. Can you?
I mean, and I do. I'm not being facetious. I love Nat Geo. I'm glad they're part of Disney, but it doesn't quite have the same.
No. Can you imagine Jessie James Decker being like, the only thing I watched as a kid was America the Beautiful, narrated by Garth Brooks. It just doesn't have the same ring to it.
Yeah, it does not.
No.
So normally, you know, we get the publicity images. They're not out yet because the show just finished airing. So I'm just gonna use their Twitter stream as a way to kind of jog our memory here.
Yeah.
What happened? But so who was the first couple?
Joseph and Daniella. So Daniella's finally back from COVID. She's been out for the past 2 weeks, and there's only been 4. So this is her second dance with her partner, and they danced a Charleston to A Star Is Born from Hercules because, you know, he is built.
I feel like that one was a stretch. Like when, you know, I part of me would love just like a special like behind the scenes where they just assign the dances to people, like, you know.
I would love that.
But this one did not seem like it was a big stretch.
No, and also speaking of behind the scenes, though, we got that special at the beginning of the season that was like the top 20 dances, and I thought there was going to be a little more of that behind the scenes flair, and it was very just like a VH1 countdown special, which there's a place for it, but I think that's a great idea because this seems like, you know, all the producers were around a conference room stressing about everyone else, and they're like, yeah, we know Hercules for Joseph. Moving on, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm digressing, but one thing that was interesting when I went to that presentation at Expo is they talked a lot about the pairings and like the thought that goes into that.
Yeah.
And I thought that was fascinating. I mean, I watched it, I stopped watching it, and then I always watch Disney Night, but like I started watching again when it came to Disney Plus. So I'm not super familiar with all of the dancers, especially the newer ones, but the professionals. But
it is interesting because, you know, sometimes they pair really ones that, you know, have won in the past with people, you know, are not going to win.
Right.
And then it's very interesting of like, did they offer themselves as like, I'm only in this for a week or two. Can you give me a bad person? You know what I mean? Like clearly they wouldn't do that, but it's interesting to see how those pairings go throughout the season and throughout the seasons to see who is paired with what people that clearly come in with a reputation of like, okay, they're probably going to do well.
So how did Joseph do
He did as well as Joseph usually does. It was totally fine. It was a Charleston, so it was the first Charleston we've seen this season, and A Star Is Born is a weird song to have a Charleston to in my mind. Yeah. But they did a good job. But I think the thing that all the judges are kind of a little bit getting over, and me as a viewer, is that every Joseph performance has to have him lifting Daniella or Alexis if she has COVID 80,000 times, but not in like a dance setting, just as like a CrossFit setting. It's just more lifting up and down and then placing on the ballroom floor.
So, you know my favorite thing about the Charleston?
I didn't know you had a favorite thing about the Charleston. Please tell me.
It's my exposure to Charleston mainly comes from Looney Tunes, of like Sylvester dancing the Charleston, going Charleston.
A lot of finger wagging.
Yeah, and like it's the only reason I knew it was a dance is from Looney Tunes. It's probably the only dance I knew because it was in Looney Tunes. But yeah, so I really want to like an HBO Max Disney Plus synergy thing where like Sylvester is able to like participate one year.
Okay, I'll get right on. I'll start writing a letter. I'll do a Twitter campaign.
Channing used to be in charge of ABC. She can make it happen.
Right, exactly. She has friends in high places still. And next we got our 20th century opportunity with The Greatest Showman. Sam and Cheryl danced a Paso Doble, because when I think Paso Doble, I think Hugh Jackman. It's a very weird pairing.
I gotta say, Hugh Jackman, I went to see his show, like his traveling show.
Oh yeah, the tour or whatever they did. Yeah.
Yeah, it was called like his life, the music, whatever, which is kind of like, it seems a little self-centered on the front, that like this is a show all about me, but he manages to sell it and come across as like one of the nicest human beings in the world. And there's obviously not a lot of like Wolverine references in a song and dance show from Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
I was unfamiliar that like one of his early roles was Gaston in the Australian tour of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
However, he knows that there's plenty of people there just to see Wolverine, and he makes it work.
He like ropes them in, even so.
Like he goes like, sorry, there's not gonna be a lot of Wolverine, and then just when you think like he's about to do it, he just sort of does the thing, and it's amazing.
And then you're like, okay, I'm here for another hour. That's good.
Well, I mean, talk about a man who's able to have diversity in his career. I mean, he's not just playing a superhero; he's playing the most like underspoken, sheltered, like
and not only that,
anger, and then you see him and he's like the music
man.
Yeah.
But also think about, he's doing Deadpool 3. I mean, he's like, the longevity of him as this superhero, I think, is the longest we've had in maybe ever, as far as
and kudos to him for the strength of his marriage. That
Deb.
There's all sorts of stories about like how he almost got fired from the first X-Men movie and how his wife pulled him through. And he has the same wife from when he had no money to presumably now he has plenty of money. And not that should be an accomplishment, but sadly it is. And
I mean, his episode of Punk'd, comedian Michelle Collins always references when Ashton Kutcher pretended to light his house on fire. It was him walking around frantically on the phone going, gotta get Deb on the phone, gotta get Deb. Gotta get Deb on the Deb, gotta get Deb on the phone. And so I'm happy that Deb and him are still a thing.
Yeah, I don't think that's going anywhere. He just seems like, I mean, he seems like he's doing Deadpool 3, not because he really wants to, but because he knows everyone wants him to.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's almost like you're welcome. Here's
right. He has to fuel the fans so he can do 3 more like prestige Oscar baity films, and I support that. You make one for them and one for you. But yeah, Sam and Cheryl, they were totally fine.
Yeah, so Sam Champion, the former Good Morning America weather anchor who left for $1 bazillion at to go to Weather Channel and then is now on ABC7 weatherman.
Okay, is that the trajectory? I was like, why isn't he on Good Morning America anymore? I didn't know that.
He's on Good Morning. He's like the 3rd string weatherman on Good Morning America. So like when Ginger Z's in a storm and Rob Marciano's busy working out, they end up with Sam Champion.
They ask him to come upstairs from the other studio to be like,
it's basically that.
Yeah, you know your way, right? Great.
Yeah, he's the COVID weatherman when like everyone can't has to isolate. So he still ends up on GMA. He'll be there tomorrow, but obviously
in a disappointing way,
right?
But yeah.
So Cheryl, the sort of, I would say the most famous of the professionals.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah,
Cheryl's an icon. We love Cheryl.
Yeah. So, what was your thoughts?
It was a Paso, and going in, I was like, this might be good for him because a Paso is very straight lines moving. So I feel like a lot of couples, when they have someone who's a little not as confident, they do well with a Paso because it's so tight that their fear arms and their tightness work well. But he still looked uncomfy. But he did some knee slides across the ballroom floor that were pretty exceptional. But I think, you could see it in his face and you could see it the entire night. Sam knew he was going home tonight. So that's always comforting when they kind of know. So it's not.
I want to talk about how that played out in a minute, but I should apologize. So Joseph and Daniella got 28 points.
Oh, yes. Joseph and Daniella, 7s across the board. Sam got a 7 from Carrie Ann and 6 from the other 3 judges.
Okay. Then moving on
The surprise of the night. From
Surprise of the Night?
Jordan Sparks and Brandon Armstrong. They did a jazz routine to Remember Me from Coco. And
I'm a little disappointed. It's not on Disney Plus, but I was kind of hoping she was going to do You Are the Music in Me from the American Idol experience.
I need to leave. It's been nice talking to you. Oh my gosh. And they bring out the microphone award that they were going to start handing out after that the grand opening. Oh my gosh. I still remember that, where they were like, we're going to start
Anthony
this.
Daniels of X. Well, I can't talk about that comment.
So Jordan and Brandon, I have made it clear in my recaps and in my daily life when I shove Dancing with the Stars facts to people. Jordan's been kind of forgettable. I love Jordan Sparks. Great singer, tattoo, a bop. No air, a bop. You know, she's known. But she's been kind of forgettable. She blew it out of the water this week. Exceptional. So fluid in all her movements. All of her extensions were complete. Brandon Armstrong threw her around like a rag doll, but a rag doll with purpose. And I supported it. It was great. Phenomenal.
And got 34 points.
Yep. 2 9s from Carrie Ann and Bruno, and then 2 8s from the other two.
Okay, so moving on, we end up with Wayne Brady. Have I ever told you my Wayne Brady story?
No, please do.
Okay, so I went to a taping of the Wayne Brady show. His very short-lived,
but Emmy Award winning
talk show, daytime talk show. And one of the guests were Ray Charles and Bear in the Big Blue House. You cannot. I could not have asked for a better guess. So Bear's sitting there, so they do the show, and then before they do the wrap up, he is supposed to film his next time on the Wayne Brady show thing. Yeah, that's gonna turn into a commercial. He keeps flubbing the lines, he just can't do it. And then he goes, "It's so hot in this suit. I want to get this done." And his band leader goes, "It's hot in your suit." And then he points to Bear. So then Bear walks up and delivers it perfectly.
I love that.
And taps him on the back, and he goes let's get this done, buddy. And then walks back out. And I'm like, Wayne Brady just got schooled by Bear.
That's incredible. Why was that not included in Playhouse Disney Live on Stage? That should have been a moment immortalized in the theme parks. That's great. Oh, I love that kind of stuff.
Okay, we gotta give a shout out to Steven from Wyoming. Also,
hello.
Brian and Big Boy Productions. We saw you, so thanks for joining us.
Wayne was beautiful tonight. He did a jazz performance to Wait For It from Hamilton, a song he sung in Hamilton for months in multiple cities. He was great. I mean, Whitney knows how to choreograph for who she's partnered with perfectly. Whenever sometimes you'll see duos who the pro clearly knows that their partner is not exceptional and they water it down in such a way that it's noticeable. Whitney will water it down in not a demeaning way, for lack of a better word. But when she knows she has someone that's talented, she knows how to amp it up gradually and to their skill set. And her choreography for Wayne was just beautiful. Len mentioned that the nuances were so on point from him and have been all season. And I think that was a great word choice for this performance. It was just great. And it got straight 9s from the judges.
Tied for first place.
Yep, tied for first with the other, which we'll get to, 2 others.
10s, yeah, so that makes it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
Daniel.
I joined in because I got, if you go to Laughing Place tomorrow morning, you'll know why. I had to deal with something that you'll find out soon. This is where I joined in to perhaps the most iconic song from the High School Musical franchise.
Yes, Finally Free from season 3, episode 1, written by Joshua Bassett. Don't knock. You know, I am on Laughing Place for 2 reasons, and 2 reasons alone. High School Musical, the series, and Dancing with the Stars. I like long titled sites.
I'm not quite sure where this leaves Mighty Ducks Game Changers, but whatever.
Another long title. I love Mighty Ducks, but really you can tell my passion for those 2 shows because I don't shut up about them in regular.
Joshua Bassett from our Wish videos fame. Because he was on the cruise. We sat next to him on the Wish, and so he's in all of our Wish videos.
Yes, shout out to the head costumer on the Disney Wish who frantically messaged me, "Oh my God, Joshua Bassett's on board. You would be freaking out with me if you were here." And I would have been. I would have cried.
By the way, seems very nice as well.
Yay, great. I love those kids. I love those Wildcats. What team?
Wildcats.
Thank you. All right. Well, that
you
hurt
know
my
how long
feelings.
I've been doing that dance? I've been doing that dance, I swear, for 20 years.
Wildcat claw. Wildcat claw. Punch right. Punch left. It was a quick step. All the judges noticed that he made some footwork flubs. Len blamed props because Len hates props. This is canon. Len hates a prop. And he had to like dance around the desks in such a way that I think messed his synchronicity up a little bit. But as Derek mentioned, he did this diagonal pass across the floor that was breathtaking. Just the leaps and the extensions were gorgeous. Not his best, not his worst. But, you know, Daniel is great. We love Coda here. I saw him on Broadway. He's great. I love Daniel.
Not to be confused with Brother Bear.
Very different.
His Disney claim to fame was he was on Switch Step Earth.
He was on what?
Switch Step, Freeform Switch Step Earth.
Oh, yes. With Academy Award winner Marley Matlin, when it labeled it Daniel's Friends for Marley last week. I was like, she has an Oscar. Can we? Oh, speaking of, you missed. Wayne Brady's friends and family included Ben Vereen, who we found out is Wayne Brady's godfather.
Huh.
It's giving Bear plus Ray Charles energy. What a weird combo.
Yeah, and you know, it's I remember. I mean, Ben Vereen just is one of those like guys that just has like very much like Wayne Brady, has a very likable presence.
Yes.
And I remember him from an episode of Animaniacs where Brain was, I think, doing a witching spell or something, and the magic or Charlie Sheen and shrink to the size of line.
Great.
So that's the thing. You can catch it on Hulu.
Now streaming. Daniel and Britt got 3 7s and an 8 from Bruno. And then next up was Shangela. And ooh,
you pronounced the name right. I'm like,
that was a whole discussion. Oh my gosh. Shangela and Gleb Sevchenko. I think I pronounced that right. They did a Charleston to dig a little deeper for Princess and the Frog, and the stars were out for this. Jennifer Lewis, Miss Mama Odie, sang live and did her high kick in the rehearsal room. Courtney Act was in the audience, and Courtney Act is the first ever drag queen to perform on a Dancing with the Stars franchise. She performed on the Australian edition, and she was on RuPaul's Drag Race. Priyanka, who won Canada's Drag Race Season 1, was at her table. It was the stars were out tonight. And then it was a great dance. It was just so fun.
It was so fun to have Jennifer Lewis there.
You could tell Jennifer Lewis, could you stand here and call out order numbers at McDonald's? And she would make it an infinitely better experience.
That is true. I mean, she's one of my favorite parts of Blackish.
Everything she touches, she's one of those people that, like, if I'm just scrolling through like daytime talk show stuff, if she's being interviewed, I stop and I watch, no matter the show, even if I don't really care for the host. I love Jennifer Lewis. And
I hadn't seen Sister Act in a long time. And so when I recently rewatched it for something, I did a spit take when she showed up. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Jennifer Lewis.
It's Jennifer Lewis. They got straight 8s, and Shangela twerked a little bit. It was a great dance all around.
Yeah, we do not condone twerking on Disney Plus, but you know it happens.
Wait till Mickey was with Trevor Donovan in that skybox. That was a time. But anyway,
Trevor Donovan is the one that brought the dogs, right?
Yes, more dogs in the ballroom. That's what I say.
More dogs everywhere.
We'll get to that.
Tab on Disney Plus. It'd just be dogs.
Right. Where are the dog like?
Also, I'd like to point out I saw Mickey on Pluto.
Pardon?
Ian was in the ballroom. I did not see Pluto.
There was no Pluto.
Poor guys at home with the dog sitter. It's just not acceptable.
it's not acceptable. And I just don't understand why this isn't allowed. And I find it rude. More Pluto always. And my Carrot Top prop comedy is done. Thank you so much.
I feel bad because I bought a $65 plush Pluto from Club 33. And I was like, you're the only character I would spend $65 on a plush for.
Yeah, buddy. I still think about, I'm happy that Coach didn't come out with a leather Pluto because I would have dropped $600, but that's a story for another day. Heidi and Artem.
Mary Poppins.
Viennese Waltz. Without a doubt, Heidi's best so far. She was just elegant tonight. Everything about it was elegant. She was so light on her feet. Every choice that she made fit the character, but also was just, her frame was so tight. Her leg extensions were beautiful. Everything was practically perfect in every way. Pardon the pun.
Oh, wow, that's great. That you're good. You're done. You earned your keep. That's great.
Great. Have a good night, everyone. No. 2 9s from Carrie Ann and Bruno, and then 2 8s from Len and Derek. Great job for Heidi and Artem. And then next up was Gabby and Val, who danced a quick step to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Mr. Blue Sky. You know, that incredible Disney-specific song, Mr. Blue Sky from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. A shout out to everyone on the team, though. The costumes and the makeup this week were firing on all cylinders. So, I mean, the team that works on Dancing with the Stars is incredible anyway, but they killed it this week.
That's amazing. Just even like the video, that, not the video package, but the video stuff they do to make it theme.
Yeah.
And you're like, how do you do this in a week?
Well, we'll get to it, but Lightning McQueen came out. And then my friend that I was watching with was like, oh, that's why we got the dance from the troupe, because they turned the camera so they could drive in Lightning McQueen. And without commercials, it's even more exceptional. Like how they're able to get it all done, like all the confetti cleaned up. Oh, right. Dancing with the Stars, we love you.
And I give a shout out to Alfonso because he's the one that has to always like keep those interviews tight yet long, depending on the situation.
No,
you can tell if you know like how he's doing it, but at the same time, he does it masterfully.
Yeah, every time he adds another question, even if you can tell he's adding one more, it never feels like out of character, you know? Oh, he does a great job. I'm happy the Skybox is back. But Gabby, as always, is just great. She's doing a great job. The dance was, just the song choice was weird for me. It hurt the dance. It didn't match well with the quick step. But otherwise, I mean, she just has technique down that she came in with that's clearly being perfected by Val and her duo. That it's just, she does a great job. And Len made sure to highlight that Val is choreographing intense routines for her to showcase that she's good at technique. And they got straight 9s. I will say Gabby also said that she did want to be Groot, and she sounded genuinely disappointed that she was not allowed to be Groot. So Gabby, apologies from the country.
Yeah, that might have been a little bit too much costume work.
Can you imagine just like intense tree bark taped to her? I would have liked it. Next was Trevor,
the guy who doesn't know how to button up a shirt every week.
Can you believe? Trevor and Emma Sambud, To Life is a Highway. Not the best song from Cars. Should have been Real Gone, but you know, I have no power. It was, what I said was Trevor has been on the up and up since week 1, and this was very much one step back. It was not great. It was a lot of pretending to drive a car and then just like scooting forward with the car. It was a very weird choice. Len did not like it because, of course, Len would not like it. There was no real content in it. And then they went up to the Skybox and got Mickey to do the move too. And Mickey was just as confused as the rest of America.
Yeah, and Mickey started to feel uncomfortable by the whole situation.
Oh, Mickey wanted to exit the Skybox. But it was straight 7s for them. It was Trevor being Trevor.
So around this part, we got Tyler said you could go to shopdisney.com/special access, where Disney Plus subscribers can get early access to special things.
Okay.
However, it takes you to an oops page not found with Ralph looking like.
Oh, well, that's...
So, she said that starts today. It did not.
Great. Well, we'll see if tomorrow is what she meant by today. I did go to the Disney 100. She did mention that too. And that said, come back January 1st.
Right.
Said,
all right. And it hasn't changed since Expo. So
right.
I'm not quite sure. The synergy moments were a little off today.
Yeah. It was like, who wrote this copy? There was another one later.
I'm excited. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah. Luca.
Vinny Guadagnino and Coco Iwasaki did a samba to a song from Luca. Now, Luca is my baby. I love Luca. Luca is in my top 3 Pixar. It's like Ratatouille, Luca, and then the third one changes depending on my mood, but those 2 are always comfortably my top 2.
Good Dinosaur.
That's mean. That's mean. Lightyear. Ooh, harsh. So the set dressing was great. Vinny did a great job being in Luca character. Costumes were great. It was Vinny doing a samba. It was what you expected Vinny doing a samba to do. There was times where I just kept going, ooh, but then he would kind of make it work, and then I'd go back to going, ooh. But yeah, he was totally fine. It was one of his better performances out of 4, so that was good.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's really up to. I mean, so he started week 1 with 17 points, and now he's up to 29. Wasn't even, if you go, he was tied for second to last place, but that's a big step up from super duper last place that he.
Yeah, I don't know if he needed that 8. I think Carrie Ann was being very generous tonight, and I blame the pixie dust in her wand. I think it sprinkled some extra points where they didn't need to be. But, that's the power of fairy godmother's magic, I guess.
In the end, it's just a television show. That doesn't actually, there's not like a big money prize or something. So,
I care.
I know, but it's not like you're like.
No, the winner gets everything in my will.
It's like, this isn't the,
the mole.
Super Bowl or something. It's just different.
Who do you think the mole would be of this season? I think the mole's Trevor Donovan. I'm just kidding.
I think it's Trevor Donovan's shirt.
Well, that's it. It's Trevor Donovan's zipper. Next up was Selma and Sasha doing a quick step to the Muppet Show theme song. Anytime I get a Muppet in the ballroom, I'm thrilled. At this point,
and we theoretically got Kermit, Miss Piggy, and Fozzie. Fozzie was at the rehearsal.
This was my. Did I hold up my fake Miss Piggy mallet for all judging tonight? Yes, I did.
Wait, what was that?
10. I mean, wait. And the judges' score is Marshal Knight. Hiya! That's my scoring.
Very nice.
Thank you. It was fun. Selma is just good. She's good. You can tell Carrie Ann brought up a point which I got a little worried when she started talking, which is most of the time when Carrie Ann opens her mouth. But she was mentioning how sometimes it's you're so worried for Selma because of what she's talked about her left leg, about how she doesn't always have access to moving the left leg at the right time, that sometimes you watch and you're a little bit like, white knuckling. You're like, okay, I hope she does it. Will she do it? Will she do it? But this week it just felt effortless. Like she just went in, she had fun, everything hit. It was wacky. It was silly. It was great. It was a fun, quick step. And there was a couch with googly eyes. What more can I say?
Yeah. And the synergy moment here.
Yes.
Muppet Mayhem coming to Disney Plus someday.
It was so weird. Mention Muppets Haunted Mansion. It's Halloween. It just felt.
Well, and if you want to know more about Muppets Mayhem, we have the full New York Comic Con presentation up on YouTube.
Yes. And they got straight 8s. Next up was another surprise of the night. Jessie James Decker, and Alan Burstyn, who did One Way or Another from Hocus Pocus 2. They did a jive. Let me just say, the entirety of the night, Alan was dressed as Billy Butcherson, who would then just lurk in people's interviews. It was scarier than Hereditary. He was just
it took me a minute because I was like, why is Doug Jones just walking around?
It felt like the mime that's at the front of SeaWorld, the Sea Lion show, just kind of there. There's no real purpose, but he's there and trying to bring joy. It was so wackadoo. I loved it, but wackadoo. But they really stepped it up this week. Jessie did a great job. She had the right bounce in the jive. Her leg flicks and her kicks were all in sync with Alan. It was really impressive, and maybe that's the lesson. She just needs to dress up as Sarah Jessica Parker every week. So get ready for next week's honeymoon in Vegas, Paso Doble, followed by 3 seasons of HBO's Divorce for her quickstep. That's my guess.
And don't forget Fly the Navigator, just to...
Fly the Navigator. There's going to be a Square Pegs Samba. And then, you know, Sex and the City Rumba feels like the right thing to do. They got 1-7 from Len and then 3 8s. So they did much better than their past. And then the final dance of the night was Charli D'Amelio and Mark Ballas doing a jazz routine to the Simpsons theme song. Let me say, Mark Ballas knows how to choreograph a dance that makes no sense. No one should be dancing to this song. It is, you know, all over the place musically. There's no like follow through really. Oh yes. For $1, name a Sarah Jessica Parker property. And Mark just knows how to choreograph wackadoo things. You know, he did a full freestyle number one year with Sadie Roberts, or Sadie Robertson, doesn't matter, to the, like Mario music. That was crazy. Yeah, but it was like all mixed, including like the da 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 da. This was the move they actually did. And then he's done a dance, like a Hunger Games dance once. Like he's done weird stuff. And this Simpsons dance was kooky, ooky, spooky, looky, fooky. It was wild, but it was cool. She danced with that Marge's beehive on the entire time, which was a feat in itself. Deserved an extra 2 bonus points just for the ability to keep that on her head. But it was just wild and fun. And I hate when people mention things going viral. It's really insufferable to me. It's like people being like, I'm an influencer. You don't get to say that. I can let you know if you're influencing. But Derek mentioned like this is probably going to be the dance that goes viral in the way that last season Iman and Daniella's contemporary dance from Us kind of made its rounds around like the internet. I can see the Simpsons one doing well too. And Len loved it, which I did not expect. But straight 9s for those 2. They did a great job.
Okay, so we're gonna go through. I think I need a little bit more explanation for Kyle. I'm missing something.
What did I do?
I don't know. So I want to go through what happens, and then I want your take. Okay.
Okay.
So the bottom 2 also happen to be the bottom 2. Well, I should say 2 of the bottom 2 in the actual judges' votes. So
okay.
Sam and Cheryl got 25 points from the judges. Trevor and Emma, as well as Joseph and Daniella, got 28 points. So the bottom 2, when you add in the audience votes, was Trevor and Emma and Sam and Cheryl, which means more audience members voted for Joseph and Daniella than Trevor and Emma.
Right.
So then it went down to the judge. So the way it works, if you're not familiar with the show, the judges pick from the bottom 2 who they want to save.
And this is only a recent choice in how they do voting ever since Bobby Bones won.
Doobie is an influencer according to his Facebook.
Huh.
Wow. He's
well,
not.
All right.
So in any case, in the end, none of this all this was a charade because the person who got the least amount of judges' votes also got eliminated.
Yes.
And it wasn't even close. There was 25 points compared to the 28 points of the other 2.
Right.
So Sham and Cheryl got voted off. Now, got voted off the ballot. That doesn't. Anyway, who was your least favorite performance this week?
I think my least favorite performance probably was Sam and Cheryl. I think it's just because at a certain point you look and you go, I don't know if there's any going better. In the way that last week I thought Cheryl Ladd, she was still on the up and up. I think Sam is kind of plateaued and there's no real going up from there. And I think Sam knew it too. So I think, as much as he and Cheryl are a great pair and I love seeing them in the ballroom, I think it was their time.
And so if you had to pick between Trevor and Emma and Sam and Cheryl, who to save?
I would have saved Trevor.
Yeah. Now, there's 3 people in the top 3 that
Yes.
were top for. It was Gabby and Val, Charli and Mark, and Wayne and Whitney.
Yes.
It just sounds like every time I hear Wayne and Whitney, I just think Wayne and Wanda from The Muppet Show. So, you're welcome. Of those 3 or someone else, who was your top performance tonight?
My top performance, I'm looking just to make sure. I think my top performance was Wayne and Whitney. I think it was just really cool. Maybe I think I have the Len Goodman in me where I like to see a little more coherency. And as much as Mark and Charli's was exceptional, it was just so all over the place that I sometimes couldn't handle what was going on. I thought Wayne and Whitney did a great job. It was clean. It was precise. Like Len said, the nuances were there, the sharpness in his movements. And I thought it was just great.
Well, great. So we got news that I guess that we already knew, but that next week we're getting 2 live of Dancing with the Stars, Monday night and Tuesday night.
Yes.
Don't know the reasoning. There's got to be one, but whatever.
None at all.
So Monday is going to be a song from their favorite year.
Yeah, they always do the most memorable year. So this is where we start crying.
So Charli's is going to be something that's like still on top 40. And
right, it's going to be like my favorite year was 2 years ago when I got my own drink at Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
It really made me appreciate
it's
life.
Like a reason to have like Sam and Cheryl move on another week just so you can get a little bit more diversity in the music.
Very true.
And then next is on Tuesday night will be Prom.
Yes.
And Disney and Prom never goes poorly.
No, never.
As Rich Ross will tell you.
Yeah. Or Racing to Witch Mountain. All that time period. Dick Cook. And we're getting the dance marathon back too, which is always a fun one.
So that means you get to work 2 nights next week.
Yay! I mean,
plus a Mighty Ducks recap. So
ballroom time is never bad time for me. I love being in ballroom.
Dun, 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 dun.
But it's a good season. And I think the move to Disney Plus, I think some people were worried, but I think it's been great. It's been firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, it's amazing that they're able to do this. Like not that I have a lot of experience in live television, but you could always use the commercials as a way to like
reset time. Yeah,
when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
And you can't do that on Disney Plus because there's no commercials.
It blows my mind how every week there's at least 4 dances with a confetti cannon and all the confetti's cleaned up by the time the next dance happens because they have no time.
So here's a fun fact. So Kyle, we have a sort of a system that we use for Laughing Place. And whenever he posts Marshall's recap, it auto links Charli's last name to our guide for the upcoming Pixar film, Elio.
Great. Be sure to support America Ferrera wherever you can. But it's a good season so far. And Disney Plus has, I think, and according to a lot of people, they're going back to an original executive producer. Forgive me for not knowing the name, but I think that has been the rejuvenation that the shows need to not try to go too far out of its lane to try to get new viewers or anything. And I will say, based on the smallest of survey, people like my friends who I never have watched Dancing with the Stars are watching it religiously this season. And I think it's just because it's easily accessible on Disney Plus. So that's kind of cool.
But it's nice that it's live across the country too.
Which is awesome. Yeah.
And Conrad Green is back as the producer.
Yes.
I believe Tom Bergeron said it best when he said it's the second best decision they've ever made on the show after hiring him the first time. So, I think a lot of us were a little disappointed when they moved. Not that no shade to Tyra, but Tom Bergeron is one of the best hosts guys you can find.
Yeah,
witty and has a sort of classic broadcaster appeal. And when him and the producers got in a basically disagreement, and I think the wrong guy won that argument. And so I'm happy to see Conrad back. I'm happy it's because the show leaned a little bit into controversy, like to have something shocking. And you can be different, but you don't need the show can be what it needs to be on Disney Plus, which is just a fun night where you can watch with your friends and family. People dance to silly songs. The stakes are intentionally low.
Right.
not emotion, but it's not like, this is going to change anyone's life. And so you
No.
don't have to have, it's just a fun night, a great Monday kind of night show. And
the format works. Why try to mess with it too much to make it something that it's not?
And you get a lot, a nice thing too is without the commercials, you get a lot more of the dance troupe who can, You
read my recaps, Ezra. Ezra's my boy.
10:26. Well, great. So just for those of you wondering, coming up on Laughing Place tomorrow, you never know when Disney news will break. So follow us all day. And then at 4:00, we'll have Barely Necessities with Becca Burbank.
Fun.
And presumably another guest, but I don't know who it is. And if breaking news breaks, we may have a chat show about all that tomorrow as well.
What kind of chat show? The View?
Yeah, it's like a British way of saying The View. So because
today,
today was like kind of a holiday, so there wasn't a lot of news happening. But like, there's stuff. We know there's stuff happening tomorrow, including the launch of ticket sales for Disney Immersive Experience coming soon.
Oh yeah, that seems great. That seems like everyone's complaining about take the animation building from DCA other places, and they said fine.
That's an excellent way to say it. So Tony Betty is all about it. He actually covered it for us, so that worked out well.
There we go.
And on Wednesday, you'll be back with another exciting episode of
Mighty Ducks
Game Changers.
Will Lauren Graham once again play a guitar? Who knows?
It's funny because we were so at the red carpet, they did I guess it was like purple carpet, but like they did a red carpet for the event.
Yeah.
It was ESPN, ABC, People Magazine, one other sort of celebrity site kind of thing, and us. And so I always felt like I had to explain to people who we are. And then Lauren Graham comes up and I go like, we're Laughing Place for website. And she goes like, oh yeah, I love the recaps. So
what? This is news to me. Did she really say that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to cry now. That's exciting. I'm happy Lauren Graham. Love you, Lauren.
Yeah, I'm sure she's watching this too.
Yeah, she's a big fan. She loves Barely Necessities too.
Who doesn't? I guess Kyle Burbank. I guess nepotism is alive and well. Laughing Place. Kyle Burbank will be the guest on Barely Necessities with.
There we go.
Rebecca. No relation.
Don't even have to use two cameras. We're saving the environment. One Barely Necessities at a time.
Yeah, nothing says saving the environment like our merchandise show.
Fast fashion. Whoops.
As a Gilmore Girl, did she say it really fast? Actually, she didn't. She didn't
have an Amy Sherman Palladino script in her hand. She said it calmly.
She had Lorelai on or whatever. Is that her name? Lorelai?
Yeah, you got it right.
Is that an HBO Max thing? Feels like an HBO Max thing.
No, I think it's on Netflix because they got the sequel series. Like to keep it all in one, I think.
Okay, well, I will let you go so you can watch the exciting finish of this Monday Night Football game.
Yeah.
Raiders are down by 7, but with the ball, so things can happen.
The Raiders really need to find that lost ark. I'm telling you, it's been missing for a while.
Indiana Jones has no value in that film.
Really?
Yeah, if you take out Indiana Jones, the plot would have just happened the same way.
Oh, good to know.
Because have you seen Raiders?
I don't. I think that's nope. That's a movie where I've tried to watch it 7 times, and every time I have to leave at the same exact point. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it is. That's almost like a little concerning.
It seems like purposeful, and I truly don't mean. It's at the point it's laughable where I'll watch it, and then something will happen. I'll be like, I literally have to leave again, and I hate that this is happening.
It's good. Ignore what I said. Watch the movie. Enjoy it. Fall in love, and then think about what I said.
Well, now I can enjoy it, though, because I know Phoebe Waller-Bridge is coming for the 5th one. So,
Yeah. And maybe the 6th one.
Fingers crossed. Well, yeah.
And if you want to hear her theme, go to our YouTube plays, because we were there at the Hollywood Bowl when John Williams debuted Phoebe's character's theme.
Ooh. Okay, we'll do.
I don't know if you know this. John Williams
Dancing with
is
the
good at
Stars
writing.
Ballroom. Unreleased music. That's the week's theme next week. No,
They should do like songs cut from Emperor's New Groove Week.
Snuff Out the Light.
Yeah.
The work of Eartha Kitt. I think that'd be a great one.
So we have the 7th. So next week is the 17th and 18th, and then we have one more themed week before, which we don't know what it is. What would you want it to be?
Ooh,
because the 31st, I'm going to presume the theme is going to be
Halloween.
Yeah, just gonna go on a limb there.
Which Halloween is a good theme. I think I do love when they do like movies, and Disney Plus is like a hard, and they did Bond, which is different. But like when they do movie scores, like I don't really need like lyrics for the songs, but like Tara's theme from Gone with the Wind or anything from John Williams, that kind of stuff, Michael Giacchino stuff. That's always fun. Or just something out of left field. You know what? Give
Nothing
us
says fun like Michael Giacchino's montage from Up.
riveting. You'll get some beautiful contemporary sad piece, and Carrie Ann will be like, when dance can be emotional, that's really important. I want the theme to be like a Broadway theme would be fun. I feel like we haven't had that in a few years.
Are you gonna the tour they announced, I guess, last week? Are you gonna go see it when it gets to Orlando, the City Beautiful?
That is my hope. I have tickets the day before or 2 days before to see the Winnie the Pooh tour in Tampa. Oh. So I might even do the 4:00 Winnie the Pooh and then the 8:00 Dancing with the Stars that's in Clearwater. So who knows?
I've seen that show. It's good. The Winnie the Pooh thing.
I'm very excited. But yeah, I'm hopeful to see Dancing with the Stars because I love me some Emma Slater. And she's hosting and she's great. Even if she's making Trevor and Mickey gyrate in the skybox.
But there's no like actual stars in the tour, right? It's just...
They always do one or two.
Oh, okay.
So they kind of like sign them at the end. I think they wait till it's like, okay, the 7th out is when people will care about. Remember when like Idol used to do the tour and it would always be like, you have to make the top 12 or the top 10?
Yeah.
I think it's at a certain point. It's like, okay, we're going to ask 8th place, not 16th place.
Having seen Dancing with the Stars on Disney Plus, what would your thoughts be if Idol moved to Disney Plus?
I don't know if it would work as well because I think they would maybe hammer in too many unnecessary themes. When Dancing with the Stars is more like, again, frivolity, the stakes are not as high. Idol is in theory wanting you to become a superstar. And I don't think Disney Plus is necessarily the platform for that. Also, I don't know. Disney Plus has been such a revitalization for Dancing with the Stars, I think. I think it's getting new audiences and doing it in a fun way. But they have stuff to back it up. I really think like the judging on Dancing with the Stars is some of the best judging on TV because as much as some of them are wackadoo, they're still doing good critiques. Do you know what I mean? Like they actually have constructive criticism every week.
Yeah. Well, I think it's almost like Idol used to be when Simon was there.
Yes, there would actually be like real
actual critiques. Not just because there's a part where it's a little like they don't mention, where, oh, you're so amazing, I can't wait for you. Like you get a lot of that on Idol where it's like, I mean, because they're all good at that point. Like once they get in the top 12 or whatever,
right?
It's not like there's anyone who stinks. But so like they just talk about how like they're gonna have a career, which may or may not happen, and how far they've come and all this stuff, but they don't actually ever give a lot of, I shouldn't say never, but they don't frequently give a lot of feedback.
No.
Which is a little disappointing because like they should get that.
Yeah. Especially if it's, something as simple as like, if someone chose a song that is clearly out of their range, let them know that so they are aware because they might just be picking songs that they enjoy. So maybe Disney Plus would be a good place for that. But I think let Dancing with the Stars kind of have the spotlight for a bit on Disney Plus and then see later down the line if live shows will work. And I also think Dancing with the Stars is more kinetic. The live nature of it is more important where it's not necessary for Idol.
And do you think Dancing with the Stars should be a once a year cycle or twice a year?
I think once a year for right now. I think let's keep that for a bit. Because again, I think the oversaturation is hurting some of like The Voice is not doing as well now because of the double cycle. I think double cycle just doesn't work like it used to. So I think
they never really did. I think they did it, but like, True. I don't know. I mean, especially not so much on Dancing with the Stars, but like with Idol, it's like you can't create a new superstar every year.
Right, exactly.
Like 6 months.
So I think letting it breathe is good right now. But I do like the thought of let's maybe include some more live programming or these like event shows where they're gonna do, same time. Maybe it'd be more fun to take this method and do live streams of Marvel shows at the same time countrywide, across the country, or a big Star Wars release, or even like a movie release, do it at the same time. And that might be the fun way to incorporate what they've learned from Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, because they do release at the same time, but you don't get to, unless you click at the same, like, with this, you kind of click in, and when it starts, it starts.
Yeah.
Whereas, so even if you're, unless you're coordinating with your friend someplace else, and you press play now, like,
right.
It doesn't really work. So that's a good idea. I also think, like, I would like it for some of the bigger projects if they would just do a one night sort of Fathom event for some of these things.
Yeah.
Because there is something to be said of the communal nature of it. Like, even if it's the season premiere, season finale, or something like that, I'm still going to subscribe to Disney Plus. You can make it Disney Plus exclusive or something if you're really that worried about it. But like, seeing the season premiere of Mandalorian, I want to see that with people. And
100%.
I end up watching it like with my eyes half closed, like first thing in the morning, so I don't get spoiled.
We had a little, me and some friends had a little viewing party for Hocus Pocus 2, and all we kept saying was, we wish we were watching this in a movie theater. That's a movie that you want the communal experience. And I know that Netflix is finally trying on a larger scale for Glass Onion, putting the movie in theaters just for a week. And then a month later, it'll come out on streaming, or a couple weeks later. And I think that's something to be said for, like you said, a Mandalorian debut, or a, Disenchanted. I would love to see in the theater with people.
Yeah, I mean, just doing what we do, a lot of times we do get to see these Disney Plus originals in a theater for a screening or what have you.
Yeah.
And like Alex saw Hocus Pocus 2 in Salem. And it does get something. Being in a theater for some of these movies is great. I mean, I'm not trying to, there's some movies that just aren't going to go to theaters anymore, and that's just the way the world is. But
yeah. And I will say too, I got to see Turning Red in theaters because it was on board on Disney Cruise Line. It was like the only theaters, they kept hyping it up. It was the only theaters in the country that were airing Turning Red, which it probably was at the El Capitan or something. But, it was in theaters, and it was nice to have, nothing is better than a good comedy in a theater with other people who are reacting to a good comedy.
So it's interesting too, because it's I wonder how that movie would have done if it was, I mean, and I don't blame, COVID, I don't fault anyone for
sure.
I mean, that's not the point. But unlike a musical like Encanto, which can kind of go viral in its own way.
Yeah.
I wonder if Turning Red would have, because it's still pretty popular on Disney Plus, if it had a theatrical run, would we have a much more sort of culturally relevant discussion about it?
Yeah, but I will say too, like, even going to the parks, I have seen a ton of Turning Red merchandise on people in a way that I didn't expect, even compared to like Lightyear. I'm not seeing like new Lightyear stuff in the way I'm seeing Turning Red stuff. So
it's just harder to gauge, I mean, because we know when something like when Bruno went viral, like that was really a hint, but we didn't really know the success of it. I mean, unless you're going to the trending section of Disney Plus constantly, like I do, you don't know. It doesn't feel, because you're not getting the $200 million of box office headlines that make it's popular,
right?
Because we don't, they don't release. I mean, Hocus Pocus, we know it's the most popular Disney Plus original, but I think that's a pretty low bar.
Right, it beat Turning Red. Okay, you know what I mean. Well, we don't know the numbers. I don't even know
if you consider Turning Red. Yeah, I mean, well, I guess Turning Red would have been, but the the premiere access wouldn't have been. So, I feel, or especially considering people might not have watched it. So,
yeah,
I mean, if you're comparing it to Noelle and Timmy Failure, no disrespect to those films, but obviously it doesn't have the watch it now demand of Hocus Pocus 2. So
speaking of, I did see Sneakerella in a theater also on Disney Cruise Line.
Yeah, Pinocchio was playing when I was on board recently.
Oh yeah, I was very happy. I got to see Polar Bear too on theaters. Disney.
Yeah, Brian, yes, you are correct. Turning Red was not premiere access. I corrected myself because Pixar movies are free. That's what I've learned from the pandemic.
Ooh.
I did have a question. So Hocus Pocus 2, what do you think? This has nothing to do with Dancing with the Stars.
No. Well, I literally am seeing Kyle working on editing the post right on the left side of my screen, and the only thing I'm seeing right now is Jessie James Decker as Sarah Sanderson, so it works. Thanks, Kyle. I thought it was great. I really loved it. I went into it knowing it was going to be a silly, campy Halloween movie. I don't know why people are getting so. I love that. That's canon.
You went to the premiere.
Oh, okay. It was just a silly, fun, campy movie. It was delightful. I didn't expect it to be Parasite. Like, it was Hocus Pocus 2. Do you know what I mean?
I think, it's funny to me because I saw Hocus Pocus in theaters when it came out in 93. And it was just another one of those Disney movies that, those sort of B-list Disney movies.
Yeah. The Odd Life of Timothy Green's, if you will.
Well, yeah, but I mean more sort of, A Far Off Place, or I'm trying to think, some of those Angels in the Outfield, just like a fun Disney movie that, you knew it wasn't there. It wasn't their Roger Rabbits or Dick Tracy's. It was, it was a smaller scope, or at least it should have been. I don't know what the expectations were, but it is there is no logic in that film. Like when Bette Midler says, pull over, I need to see your learner's permit. That makes zero sense.
None.
Because I don't think they had those in, 300
I mean, they didn't have I Put a Spell on You either.
Right, yeah. And so, to me, the people who are a little like, oh, well, that doesn't make any sense. I was like, the original didn't make any sense. It's paying homage to it by not making any sense in terms of, just fun, campy. My mind was blown when I saw Gary Marshall and Penny Marshall, but I'm always happy to see Gary Marshall because he's one of the nicest people that ever lived. And so I'm all for it. But it's I think I enjoyed it more than Alex did, which is surprising because I do not enjoy the original more than Alex. So I think the people that maybe fell in love with it at a time when they didn't realize it didn't make any sense, like they're a little younger than me.
Well, that's what I've been telling friends too when they bring it up. It's you're fighting against nostalgia, so it's always going to be hard. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation where that is a beautiful analogy. Not as much Jennifer Connelly.
Great scores.
What?
John Deb meme.
What was I going to say about? A lot of people have been, when I've been talking to people about it, asking their opinions, they're like, oh, I'm so mad I didn't have I Put a Spell on You. And I keep trying to explain to people, I'm like, if they had I Put a Spell on You, you would be complaining that they did the same song. And if they don't have I Put a Spell,
because it's not going to hold up. I mean,
right. And then if they didn't put I Put a Spell on You, you're going to complain that they didn't have I Put a Spell on You. So it's a lose-lose situation making this movie because it's based on 30 years of nostalgia. So
and I guess Mark Shaman did work on the lyrics of the songs.
Oh yeah.
And Mark Shaman has been following me because I saw a movie I did not enjoy that had score by Mark Shaman recently, and he was at the D23 Expo.
I love Mark Shaman.
Anyway, I can talk all day about Mark Shaman because I think I did actually on a different show that we did talk about his tremolo strings, but in any case.
Anyway. But yeah, Hocus Pocus.
Thanks so much, Marshall. We look forward to reading 2 recaps from you next week.
2 nights in the ballroom. It'll be fun.
We're gonna blow up our payroll, man.
Yep. Oh, a whole 1 extra. Hope everyone's enjoying this season.
Yeah, and we will be back. Follow us, like, subscribe, ring the bell, because we got stuff coming tomorrow, including Barely Necessities at 4:00. So I'm going to hit the outro button, which I think does something.